Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. This is your host, Iggy. And tonight I would like to look at some reproduction Marx figures that I had completely forgotten about. And the reason I forgot about them is because something else was going on in my life at the time that I bought these. And of course, they went into a storage tub and right into storage and then completely forgotten about until today. So why did I remember it today? Well, I took a tub out of, a plastic storage tub out of my storage locker, and I opened it up and found two boxes, small boxes, which incredibly fit all these figures. But in one box, there was these reproduction Civil War soldiers by Marx, then reproduction Native Americans, and then some reproduction Marx pioneers and cavalry. In the other box was reproduction Western figures by Marx and these pioneers and cavalry. And I think these two horses and the Indian pony were also in this box. Now, I completely forgot about them. It looks like they were made, not made, but I purchased them in 2016. Why did I say 2016? Well, that was the year I bought them. In July of 2016. And it shows here that I purchased cheap cowboys. That's these here. And several Marx horses, Marx Cavalry and Pioneers, and I had a question mark repro, and they're definitely reproduction. Marx Pioneers, Cavalry, Indian Teepee, etc., and repro Marx Civil War Union troops, which you see here. Well, let's just jump into it, okay, guys? First up, we have Marx Cowboys. However, some of these figures are not Marx, like these guys down. Look at all the flash on that rifle. Goodness. These are not Marx here, but these are. And, well, that guy isn't, but this figure is a Marx figure. Look at how he looks like John Wayne. You notice that? He looks like John Wayne. That's kind of interesting. They're made in a dirty plastic, what I call dirty plastic. And what that is they mix a couple different plastic colors together, and it comes out looking somewhat dirty. And that's what these are here. A couple of them are okay, like this one back here. He's a Marx figure. He's cast in gray. He looks fine. This one over here looks okay. I'm guessing they ran out of gray coloring and mixed in some yellow, and so you got these dingy looking ones up here in the front. They were cheap, so I don't mind them being like that. It's, I'm okay with that. These figures up here are reproduction Marx Pioneers and Cavalry. In 1967, Marx introduced their first military set for their Fort Apache, and all the figures were dressed as cavalrymen of the plains would have been, or somewhat would have been. And but these are the ones that they used to produce in the earlier Fort Apache sets. And they call them Marx Cavalry and Pioneers. And they're done in a sort of grayish blue color, which is somewhat pleasing. And these are also Marx Cavalry reproduction, but it looks to me like they're done in sort of a, I know it's hard to tell, but it looks sort of like a green color. Can you guys tell the color from this? I'm not sure. Maybe it's like a steel blue. when I'm looking at it in the natural, well, natural, none of the light is natural in here, but um, naturally. What was I saying about them? Oh, they look sort of greenish, but maybe they're somewhat of a steel blue. Maybe that's the color of them. And it's not a complete set, as you can see here. It's like half of the figures. And these Native Americans are done in butterscotch. They're not Marx, by the way. They're also reproduction. And some people, they don't like reproductions. They only want original. I can't afford original. I do have a number of originals in my collection, but I would say about 75% of my collection is reproduction, and that's due primarily to cost and availability. You know, you go onto eBay and you start bidding on things, and before you know it, even reproductions are getting costly. So I haven't bought any figures in a few years now. Probably 4 or 5 years I haven't bought any figures, I don't think. At any rate, oh, there I go again. I said at any rate, you know how I say that every time. These are the Civil War figures. They are done in a light blue color, but not a powder blue. I have originals. Oh, let's see, I do have some originals. I've got about 30 Union troops that survived the playset that I got as a boy. Now, I didn't know that the Civil War playset was for me. I always thought it was for my brother because he was 10 and I was 5. And I was going through Mom's Christmas notes years and years and years later, and it said for Richie Civil War playset. And I'm like, what? How come my brother always had it? Well, my brother took it over because Mom said at Christmas, when she saw how my brother was so envious of the playset that I got, because he was really into the Civil War at the time, she said, well, that's for both of you kids. But originally she had bought it just for me. And my brother took it over and started painting the figures. Well, sometime in 1986, I threw out all the soldiers that my brother painted. I should have stripped them of their paint and kept them, but I don't know why I did that. I was on an anti-paint kick at the time, I guess. Now I don't mind painted plastics, but I don't know. It's weird what we do and then years later try and figure it out after the fact. So mine are a matte finish in a powder blue, the originals that I have. Now, when I was a kid, I did not like this pose over here. I don't know why. I just never cared for this guy. One that I really liked was the rifleman that you see here in the back. I really like that figure. I like the commanding officer. He's pointing and he has his revolver out. I think they're well sculpted. I think they're superior to some of the other figures that Marx produced, such as the 7th Cavalry they produced in 1967 for their Fort Apache. By the way, those figures were the first purely military figures for Fort Apache. Prior to that, they always had a mixture of what they called pioneers and cavalry. In 1964, they introduced what the collectors called the long coat cavalry. Those, by the way, are excellent. I really like those a lot. I have quite a number of reproductions of those figures, and they're very well done. And if you could get them in matching colors, they would go well with this cavalry for this. The teepee is probably the most realistic teepee. It's far superior to Tempo's teepees. There is a problem, though, in that they're very hard to put together, and you always see this crack here They just don't fit well together. And I tried gluing them together, and they don't. I guess you need to use super glue. The lodge poles, which you see at the top here, they one set of them is broken, so that's why it looks all jumbled up like that. In a previous video that I did about 9 videos ago or so, I did a video about Marx Plains Indians, and I discussed the totem pole, how that was not a feature of Plains Indian culture. It was from the northwestern tribes that occupied Canada and the northwest United States. And it was not necessarily for religious purposes, but to tell a story. They would talk about successful hunting trips. They would talk about maybe a favorite ancestor or friend. Um, but it was not meant to be a religious thing. In movies, they always show Indians dancing around one of these as if it's some sort of religious symbol of some kind. But that wasn't the case, not culturally correct for the Plains Indians. They had enough to carry around without carrying a carved log like that, which I think was made of redwood, but I'm not sure. They would use a travois. They would attach 2 poles to a pony, and then they would have like a buffalo skin stretched between the 2 poles, and they would load it up with things that they needed to drag. That must have been really hard on that horse, dragging that like that, all that weight. I wonder how far a horse could go before it collapsed. I'm sure they knew exactly how far they could go because they had a lot of experience with it. So why were these figures forgotten? Well, in 2016, this is going to be embarrassing, guys. I don't even know if I want to talk about it. I had a crush on this girl. I remember one of the guys that worked over in produce said, "Hey, Rich, did you see that new cashier?" And I said, "No." He said, "Check that out." And I look over, and there's this girl with long red hair. Just immediately, I was like, wow, I am really hooked on this girl. I am smitten. I am totally in love with this girl. I knew nothing about her. Nothing, zero. I didn't even know her name. And I'm thinking, I think I'm in love. So right off the top, that's pretty stupid. And but at the time, I was very lonely. I had been divorced for at that time about 20 years and had not gone on a date. There was nobody. And suddenly this girl comes along and I think she's perfect. Well, is she perfect? I don't know. I never knew her. And she never gave me the opportunity to know her. And for a good reason. She was married and also she wasn't attracted to me. And I did everything I could to make her attracted to me. And then my friend John said, "Really? You're going to steal some other guy's girl if she lets you?" And I said, "Oh, that doesn't sound good, does it?" And he said, "No, it does not. That's what happened to you and you didn't like it. No, I'm not going to do that to someone else." So anyway, before that happened, I had a long beard and long hair, and I cut off my hair and my beard, and I dyed my hair. I got a tan. I lost 70 pounds, and she never even noticed. And the reason she never noticed is she's not interested in me, nor should she be. At any rate, I forgot everything. I just would go to work and get all dreamy about her to the point where she was very uncomfortable. Here comes that weird guy. And I just was acting like a fool. And when I look back on it, I'm certainly not mad at her. I'm mad at myself for being such a dork. But anyway, I should know better that there's nobody for me. I'm a weird guy, as you guys all know. So I have no right to think that I'll ever be in love. That's just ain't happening. And that's okay. We have to live our lives and be happy regardless of what is dealt to us. Um, anyway, all these entries you hear, I can't remember any of this. It's a good thing I wrote it down because I don't remember any of this stuff. Anyway, what a delight it was to find these two little boxes in the storage tub and find this stuff. I'm like, it's like Christmas. I can't describe how wonderful it felt to open the boxes and find this. Because, like I said, I completely forgot about it. I hope I didn't bore you with that sad sack story of... It's pretty pathetic, and I admit it. I readily admit it. I had some friends that tried to slap some sense into me, but I was obsessed. That's all I can say. And I was punished very dearly as a result of this obsession that I had. But the good thing is that I've never done it again since. So that's the good news. And I don't even know where she is now. She joined the military and she's long gone. She's somewhere else. I don't know, and I don't have a right to know and shouldn't know. It's none of my business. Anyway, that's why I forgot all this stuff. And it was a joy to rediscover it. And I hope I didn't bore you with such a stupid story. You can tell I'm still angry at myself over all that. Because look at all this fun hobby stuff that I forgot about. You know, let's see, this continues on another page because I ran out of room there. But it's a good thing I write stuff down. Why isn't it opening? Oh, because I marked it. All this stuff from 2017, 2016, don't remember it. But luckily, it's here. So when I rediscover it in boxes, I can experience a Christmas-like moment or birthday-like moment. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. I'm finished with telling you pathetic stories. I hope I didn't turn you off with that. Each time I post a video, I get new subscribers and I also lose them. In the past couple of months, I think I've lost about a dozen subscribers. I go, oh, this guy is weird. And Iggy can confirm that he's pretty much a weird dude. But I love my toy soldiers. And if someone thinks that's weird, well, they're weird. I don't care. Should I say goodbye? I should have said goodbye about 5 minutes ago, huh? Well, thanks for getting Iggy with it. I hope you enlist in the Iggy Army. Not every video is like this one, I want you to know. And it's time to hit the dusty trail. We'll go to Roy Rogers Ranch. We'll go to the Chuck Wagon. We'll get some beans and some bacon and some Hawaiian punch, some strawberry lemonade. And, well, some of you might prefer other beverages, I understand. For Iggy, strawberry lemonade will be just fine. Told you I was weird. Should I sing goodbye? No, you guys are done with that. Just say goodbye, Iggy. It's done. It's over. All right. The little voice in my head is telling me to stop it now.